regular committee meeting for Thursday, February 7th, 2019. Members Mark McKeever, Kevin Myers, Dan Wireball, Bruce Truca is absent, Monica Sack, Doug Folk, and Andrew Schock. I called the meeting to order at 6 p.m. Is there any public participation? Yes.
Yes.
Just go up to the podium there, just your name, address, first floor.
Good evening, Council. My name is John Recker. I am with AEP Ohio. I am a community and customer experience account manager for AEP. I'm joined tonight by Chris Decker, who is the customer service representative who covers the city of Bucyrus for AEP Ohio. But during this segment of your meeting, I want to introduce smart meters, which we call AMI smart meters, which are going to be installed in the Bucyrus area. Actually, a little bit of the urgency of this presentation is off a little bit because a few months ago I talked to the mayor and Jeff Wagner, and we were scheduled to be installing the new smart meters mid to late February, and that's actually been pushed off to this early summer. But it's still good to let council know that this is coming. They are still definitely coming, but just to let you know, the schedule's been altered a little bit. But I just want to give you a quick overview of smart meters and what these will mean for the citizens of Bucyrus. So if you go to that packet there, what does a smart meter do? One of the benefits is it helps with outage restoration by improving the response times. Customers no longer have to call in for an outage. The network system will identify where we have outages at, so it will improve our response time for outages. It eliminates the need to access the property to read the meters because it's all done electronically. It will simplify the billing process for our customers by eliminating estimated bills, and it also allows every customer that is so inclined to become energy managers. And I'll show you a little bit more about that. We'll talk a little more about that in a second. But how AEP is going to notify customers, they'll receive a mailer 2 weeks prior to the installation. They'll also receive an automated phone call about 10 days prior to the installation that the smart meter will be installed at their home. The day of the installation, they'll receive a door hanger. And then 12 weeks after the installation, they'll receive a postcard from AEP Ohio that will explain some of the benefits. So a little bit about the Bucyrus installation schedule on the next page. For the residential customers, these are now scheduled again. It's been pushed back because the reason I'm here tonight, one of the reasons is we thought they were going to originally be installed late February in Bucyrus, but now it's been pushed to late June, mid-July this summer. But actually our meter electricians are already installing the smart meters for our commercial customers in the area. So 6,100 meters will be replaced in the Bucyrus area. These will be done through a contractor by the name of Aclara. So they'll have a fleet of white vans, they'll have reflective desks, and they will be identifying themselves as they install the smart meters across the city. The next page, what the smart meters allow customers to do. This is an example. Once the meter is installed, they have the opportunity to download on their smartphone, if they have a smartphone, an app called It's Your Power. And when they do that, they'll get a live reading of their energy consumption at their home. Once they download the It's Your Power app, that'll register them for a free energy bridge, and the energy bridge will be delivered free of charge to their home, and they can basically network their major appliances, their thermostat system, and control all of it through their smartphone. So again, nobody's required to do that, but if somebody wants to turn into a personal energy manager for their home or their business, they will have the technology to do so. So some of the benefits, again, it'll give customers insight in when they're using the electricity, what appliances use the most electricity in their home, and they can actually, again, through the app and the Energy Bridge, control how much energy is used. A few more features of that with the pictures there, the smartphone. But that's really, in a nutshell, AMI smart meters that, again, are going to be coming to Bucyrus customers here this summer. Any questions? Yes, sir.
You did say that the bridge unit, if you sign up for the app after this is already installed and everything, that is all free?
Yes. Yep.
So with the bridge system, I guess, how does that work with your appliances? Does that give you the ability to turn the power off to certain appliances at certain times of the day, or how does that part work?
My understanding is with the Energy Bridge, there's an additional step if you want to network all your appliances. My understanding, and I haven't done this yet at my own home, but I did get my Energy Bridge about 3 or 4 days ago. And it does, and all I did was, register through the app. My understanding is at the major big box home improvement stores, Lowe's, Menards, those, Home Depot, there is a adapter that you can plug into your outlet. So for example, your refrigerator, whatever outlet your refrigerator's in, if you then plug that into that plug, then that transmits the usage data through Energy Bridge. So there is an additional step beside wiring up, installing the Energy Bridge, if you want to network your appliances.
Okay.
And again, that is through the outlet you have to buy. And it's not an outlet that you have to rewire.
Right.
It's a plug-in for your.
It's an adapter.
Adapter.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, that's the next step, to my understanding.
Okay.
I still have to do it at my house.
Right.
John?
Yes, ma'am.
This is, just to kind of reiterate, this is done at no cost to the homeowner.
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
thank you.
I got a couple of questions. Any studies done on the amount that, the added EMFs coming out of these? This is what I've heard.
No, valid question. I'm not here to quote any studies because I don't know them, but I have heard that the amount of, for one thing, the AMI meter is mounted up, on your meter box, so it's external to your home, but it's a small fraction. The radio frequency waves are emitted by the AMI smart meter are a small fraction of our cell phones and the other electronic equipment we have in our home. So compared to the cellular,
as bad as
everything
everything else, right?
well, that could be, but I know it's a much smaller amount of radio waves from what I've been informed.
Yeah, and then the other thing is that I've seen where these have caught fire. Some of these, especially like on an apartment building where you have like a big bank of them and things like that.
I've heard those stories, but I know, they've been installed, this is phase 2 for AEP, and they've had several thousand installed in the Columbus area already for 10 years, and I can say they're not concerned of the safety implications. A lot of the electric co-ops have digital smart meters already installed in Ohio, and again, I've heard of the same stories, but I know as far as AEP is concerned, it's not the fire hazard isn't a safety issue for us.
I guess the last one is there's no way you cannot have one of these.
We are strongly encouraging all of our customers to have them. If somebody is adamant, there is an opt-out feature. There is an opt-out opportunity, but it actually will cost the customer a little more per month because we're going to have to physically send the meter reader out to your premise to still read your meter. But yes, there is an opt-out opportunity.
Okay, I'm good now.
One last question.
Yes.
For people that have fenced-in yards, where the meter would be on the back of the house inside the fenced-in yard, is there going to be any issues if they're not home during the daytime hours when these guys are coming by to replace these meters?
Well, I know that If they have if their meter is already fenced in, we should already have arrangements
Okay.
for getting access. I haven't heard of that exact issue, but I know, I mean, we're going to be in that neighborhood for, you know, in Bucyrus areas for several weeks. And I assume, Chris, do you know if any idea if they make extra arrangements?
I would think they'd leave a door hanger.
Okay.
Try to make phone calls or leave messages.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure.
There will be an effort made,
Okay.
yeah. We're not gonna leave anybody out because we can't, they aren't home that same day.
Okay.
I mean, the idea is the network needs to work in its entirety, and there will be additional efforts to make sure we can get a hold of them.
Just want to make sure.
Yes, sir.
When you install this, is there a service interruption to the house, and how long is that?
It takes, yes, there is about a 2 to 3 minute service interruption. So, that is the process.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask a
Yes.
question? With the new smart meters, will there still be a digital readout that the customer can see to read the usage?
Yes, yes, it does give you the kilowatt hour usage on the digital display.
I think this gentleman has a question.
Yeah, I have a series of questions.
Okay, maybe could you give us your name just for the
Okay,
record?
that's fine. Paul Davis, 1251 Ohio Drive. Okay. All right, you addressed the fire issue. As far as, how does that relate to power surges and stuff that I've read as far as when they do change that meter out, they're changing it out hot. And sometimes the surge from the changing out has a potential of causing a problem of house fires.
I have no knowledge of that.
Okay, well, I've been reading stuff as far as all across the country. Okay, another one, if I may, I have 19 of them.
19, okay.
Okay, you discussed as far as monthly fee for having a smart meter, or you didn't discuss it, is there a fee?
No, not for the smart meter,
Okay, some areas do have fees,
no additional fee.
okay. Are the meters gonna be used as peak meters or demand meters?
No,
They are not.
that correct, Chris? Chris is helping me out because he has more expertise.
It has a demand display on it, but it's not built residentially on.
Okay, because some areas, some villages and stuff are using it as demand meters. I'm gonna quote DTE as far as Michigan is notorious right now.
Okay. Well, the tariff will not change, your current tariff as a residential customer will not change
Okay.
under the smart meter.
All right, that's what I was concerned about as far as high usage is between 4 and 8 o'clock. And is that gonna be spilled in a split rate is what I was concerned about.
No.
All right. Split rate pricing combines here. If you choose to opt out, will they still stay as an analog meter, or are you gonna be putting like a dumb meter in?
It will be a digital meter, it will not be networked. So it will not be the analog, the analog meters a lot of citizens now have. It'll be a digital, but it won't be linked
All right.
and networked.
Things I've read has been complaints of accuracy of these digital meters.
From everything we have been told, they are much more accurate than, you know, the current analog meters.
All right.
And we test them. If somebody has questions, they can be tested, but they are sporadically tested from what, in the phase 1. And it's 99% plus accuracy over, of the testing.
All right, next question. How do these meters connect to the neighborhood meters? Does it hop off one meter to the next one, or?
Yeah, it is I'm not an engineer, but they are linked in a network. And you have so many, you know, for example, in a neighborhood, you'll have so many that are communicating data from one to the other, and then they communicate their data or transmit their data to a relay on top of a power pole in the city. I'm not certain of this, but for example, there may be 5 to 6 relay units mounted for the city of Bucyrus. So, you know, that many neighborhoods will communicate individually and then transmit to that relay. And then that relay, the relays will then go to a central point for the data collection.
Is there any way of any of that stuff getting, the signals getting crossed or anything, or is it all digital? I mean,
To my understanding, no. We believe it works very well because it is proven technology. But yeah, good question. They are networked.
okay, what happens, you're not saying that it's a demand meter, so the other question was as far as what happens when you have a weak signal or whatever? As far as your transmission or whatever, your Wi-Fi systems, like we have in our own homes, and that, what happens as far as weak signals?
It's not, they're not on like a Verizon signal by themselves, so that's why not everybody is, the signals are, the system is designed that the signals stay strong enough to transmit the data. So that's why right now, rural areas aren't being networked together. And why we're only really looking at clustered areas within larger municipalities. And that doesn't really answer your question, but there is a lot of, I know, thought and engineering into the networks. So I'm hoping that they've designed it where the signals aren't weak enough to cause a problem.
Okay, going back as far as the rates and that kind of stuff. Right now, you're saying no split rates, but is that potential in the future?
It would have to be approved by the PUCO if we were doing any kind of rate change. So I'm not going to promise never, but it would be very difficult to achieve, I will say that. And AEP couldn't do it on its own. It would have to be cleared through PUCO.
All right. Meters tracking your personal data, as far as who are you going to be selling it to, and is it going to be without permission?
No, from everything I've been told, that is not going to happen. And again, there's no case of it happening in the ones that have been installed in the Columbus area for 10 years already.
Okay. This goes as far as into the theory of invasion of privacy, retrieving data without a warrant, as far as high usage or whatever.
I can't comment on that because I have not heard that.
Okay.
But don't you do that, don't you get, like if someone bill goes extremely high because, basically what you're saying
Right.
is because they're in there growing.
Yes.
I think that's what you're getting at.
I'm
So,
getting at that as far as,
yeah,
but
that's what somebody told me. But doesn't that throw a flag out to you somewhere?
Well,
Even now with analog meters, haven't you done that for years?
Right, I mean, when we have a high bill complaint, we see high bill issues, we bring those things to the customer's attention. So it really shouldn't be any different than what our current data, we already currently are with customers. It'll be more timely, but you know, the opportunity should not change for us to utilize that data, and to my knowledge, we are not.
okay. Hacking, as far as stealing electricity, or goes back to privacy, your usage knowledge, as far as where somebody can hack into it and know that you're not at home, to where you would be broken into. That data is out in the wavelengths now.
Yeah, I haven't thought of that. I mean, somebody could, it wouldn't be any different than them walking up to the back of your home.
Well, I realize
seeing
that, but this is easy because they're going through and picking up the Wi-Fi signal.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I haven't heard of that concern yet.
Okay. What is your opt-out fee as far as monthly?
I believe, and again, I think it's $23 a
24.
month. 24. Thank you, Chris. All right. Yes.
Because I pulled that up off
Okay.
the website.
All right.
All right. You already explained as far as you're gonna be doing 2 weeks as far as notice as far as written, 10
Yeah.
days?
Yep.
Okay, as far as that I wanna find out. If you choose to, you already have the smart meter,
Mhm.
and you wanna go back to analog, or a dumb meter.
Right. You'd be going, if you opt out, you'd be going to, it would still be an electronic meter. Not a-
I mean, as far as you already had the smart meter installed, you wanna
Yeah.
go back to a dumb meter.
Okay.
Am I correct as far as, I think it's a $43 fee?
If,
to
I
go
think
back?
to change one out, yes.
Okay,
Yes, there will be an additional
Charge.
disconnect, reconnect fee for that.
all right. And this is going by other utility companies, I'm not saying you.
Yeah.
Are you planning to penalize customers who opt out of installing a smart meter in the form of bullying? There's been different utilities that are already bullying their customers.
From what I understand, it's a confidential feature.
Okay.
We have customers that I know have opted out in one of the communities in our district already. There's been no social media recognition of that whatsoever.
Okay, because there has been, as far as other places,
Okay.
forms of harassing.
I know Chris and I aren't going to.
All right. And I have even a record here as far as DTE, I'm referring to them.
All right.
Shut off customers' power because they refused to use a smart meter.
No. You have the option of opting out.
Well, they opt out and they still turn around and pull the meters and put put the smart meter in.
Oh.
Okay. All right, that's it.
We
Thank you.
appreciate our customers, you know, we want you to keep
Well,
paying.
I-
We want the money to keep
Well,
flowing.
Well, I'm just saying, as far as,
No.
I was
Yeah.
reviewing as far as California, or North Carolina,
Mhm.
Michigan, Indiana, different states that are
Yeah.
already having these issues.
Okay, all right. I appreciate that.
I think we've got another question over here,
Yes,
Kurt.
Kurt Fankhauser here. I know you're gonna be changing the residential out in the summer, but, you know, like on infrared quartz space heater, that it says you shouldn't unplug those while they're turned on. Like, if you shut it off, you hit the off button and then the fan keeps running, so
Yeah.
it blows the heat out.
Yeah.
If you turn the power off for 2 or 3 minutes, like I know you said you're already doing the commercial buildings in this area, which they have done the one on my building
Okay.
here in the last week. If you have one of those infrared space heaters that you're not supposed to shut the power off to them without them shutting down and the fan running for a couple minutes, that could be a situation where the fire hazard is present.
When we actually change out the meter,
Yeah, when you
Okay.
get the 2 or 3 minute now,
right?
I don't know if you've thought of that, or I'm glad the fire department's here, because
Yeah.
they could potentially have to go out to one of those.
Okay. All right. Now, we can share that with the smart grid team. I don't think Chris and I have heard that being an issue, but we can definitely share that.
I got a question.
Yes.
What brand? You got a brand? or
Well, like
a
the
certain
Eden
model?
Pure ones.
I'm just curious, because I actually have one, and I have, many a times, I've turned it off, fan still running, unplugged it from the wall, left it sitting in my bedroom all day, never had.
Yeah, but if,
I
I mean, it'll get a little bit hotter.
I'm just asking, I mean, that's why I'm asking, is it a certain brand, or?
You're installing these in the summer, right?
Yes.
What would somebody be using a space heater for in the
Well,
summer?
that's-
Well, they're doing commercial ones now.
Yeah. Commercial ones would affect.
But this is
I
for
just-
summer
Yeah.
use, okay.
But the commercial ones are being done by APP meter electricians. You know, because a lot of them are three-phase meters for three-phase power and things like that, so it's a different process. The 3 or 4 or 2 or 3 minute outage with Aclara are on residential. Yeah, and they will be done this summer, so that's good. All right, thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Any other public participation? Okay. To the order of committee business, I will call the service committee meeting to order at 6:26. 6:26. AEP agreement. Oh, you guys are back in the hot seat again.
What I'm presenting tonight, definitely not asking for council's action tonight, but would like to request the renewal of the franchise agreement between the city of Bucyrus and AEP Ohio, or as we're referred to in the franchise agreement is the Ohio Power Company. Requesting a renewal of the 50-year franchise agreement. The last one was signed March 1969. I'm not an attorney, but this is a legal agreement, but it's fairly straightforward, page-and-a-half agreement. Really, the two biggest points of it is the franchise agreement gives AEP Ohio the right to conduct its work, repair its lines, maintain its lines in the city's right-of-way. So the public areas of the right-of-way, the agreement gives us the right to do that without the need for permits and pre-approval and things like that. The second important thing that the franchise agreement does is it holds the city harmless if anyone gets hurt or injured on AEP's equipment in the city. So those are the two major legal points that are covered in the franchise agreement. AEP Ohio has one with every municipality that it serves in the state of Ohio, so these are very standard. And to just ask for council's consideration of the franchise.
Okay, law director, any comments on that?
No, I mean, these are state agreements. The state provides, provides for a franchise process.
So I guess my question then is, should we just go ahead and ask for legislation, or should we wait? I guess I'm asking the committee.
Well, you'll need electricity and your options. Yeah, I mean, your
or
options.
should we shop around?
Well, your options are, yeah, you can open your own municipal utility, like, Gallion historically had. I think all of the Georgia.
No, but I mean, should we do that now, or should we wait?
It depends on if you have any other questions. I mean, there's no reason to wait, but.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess is there a reason to wait, was my question.
And I would add, the franchise agreement is not exclusive. A city, a municipality is free to sign them with other providers. But I just want to point that out as well.
Okay.
I'll make a motion.
Okay. Mr. Pope makes a motion to continue the, are we gonna do this another 50 years or what?
That's up to you.
I'll make a motion to request legislation and do this agreement for another 50 years.
Hopefully by 50 years, electricity will be.
Yeah, is that the standard term with these agreements now for another 50 years though?
There are a lot of options. Some municipalities sign them for 10 years, some have done them for 20 years. We had, Bucyrus was under the 50 years, so that's the way we drafted this one. And there is a, I mean, it can be voided with a one year notice. So it's a 50-year agreement, but it can be voided with a 1 year notice. So.
I guess I would ask if there's any objection in terms of the duration of the agreement from the law director before we just.
I have no objection to the 50-year. I mean, it's solely your discretion and what they're willing to agree to, but I mean, you can make it 10, 20, 99, whatever you like.
50 years, and I don't have to worry about it.
So I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hopefully we're done with it now. So then we'll move on to, material bids. This is what we do every year.
Yes.
Just go out and get prices on this stuff. Is that
Yeah,
what you do?
it starts April 1st, but we usually try to get out now, because we like to see the new pricing for the upcoming year, in case we need to buy some stuff in now, or we wait and maybe, if we have some luck, some of it goes down. So if you look at the first page there under water filtration, we removed a couple items that we no longer need to go out and get a price for. And then if you go to B, under water distribution, and you flip the page, you go to item 23 through 37. These are items that we've been using to expand our water line when we work in conjunction with a contractor, so we'd like to get some pricing for those items as well. And then on page 4, our street materials, whether it's cold patch, hot patch, stone, concrete, those are all the same items that we've always went out and got a price for before.
So we're actually not buying anything, we're just.
No, we're just going out and get pricing.
Giving them permission to go out,
Yep, go out to bid to get
get
pricing.
the best price.
And then that'll hold from April 1st to March 31st or March 30th of the next year.
Okay, entertain a motion to move this forward.
So moved. Yes, I guess.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's through, so.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Mr. Ricker and Decker, if you want to leave, feel free.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, because this is pretty important.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks a lot. So at, we'll wind this down at, 6:32. 6:32, something about when I turn around.
And cheers again.
And we'll, start public lands and buildings at 6:32. And we'll talk about the 2019 mill and pave. Never too early to start paving streets. Nope.
Well, the sooner we get out, hopefully the better price we get. I think all in front of you have the preliminary cost estimate from Brandstetter Carroll. Standard mill and pave, nothing out of the ordinary other than, you know, adjusting catch basins and water valves and things like that. Basically just mill and pave on these streets that we have listed. And if you go down to the total, when they added in the contingency, we actually ended up over the $600,000 mark. So we could take like item number 8, Arch Drive, and make it as an alternate. But I will tell you, and Joyce can confirm this, but 95% of the time, or 99% of the time, we're coming in under budget with usually whoever has our, does our milling and paving. And usually it's Chuck Kimberline, but usually we come in under budget. So with the 10%, we're actually over. So I can list one as an alternate so we can see where we come in at, so we make sure we stay under our budget, if you want me to do it that way. And then number 12, the Arrowhead, in our budget, our share was $230 and actually came in at $210. So that's a $20,000 decrease that we've had at the cost of the city. So if you guys just want to give me your thoughts on, you know, you want me to take number 8 and make it an alternate to make sure we stay under that 600,000? I guess I'm just asking for your guidance and what you want us to do.
Yeah. I guess that would be the most logical thing to do, take one. And also, could leave some in there in case we had something like the square that one year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, just in case we need something somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I think I had a request to look at Kaler Avenue, and we did take a look at that. We think we can just do some cutting and patching on our own to get by till next year for that. So,
Oh, on Kaler?
yeah, from Oakwood to,
Yeah. Mr. Myers has a
Union
question.
Street, I know I had asked you, and I think you answered me, but I forget which one you told me.
It's
Is that
north of
500 or 900 block?
900.
Okay.
That's where we're doing,
Right on
part
the
of our
side.
sewer separation.
That's right.
And that street isn't gonna be made for equipment, so by the time they get done going up and down that, digging the trench, it's probably only an inch thick as it is, so.
I think, Mr. Chairman, I think we ought to, like you said, to put Arch Drive number 8, as an alternate, just to be on the safe side. But, if it comes in well under budget, that the 34,000 isn't gonna affect it, then they can put it right back in.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that would be a good thing.
Okay, so I guess I'll entertain the motion to, I guess we have to ask for legislation for this, to go out to bid for these, with Arch Drive being the alternate.
So moved.
Second.
Oh, that's right, we're in a different committee now. Okay. I thought, what's he talking about? Okay.
I don't want to do the first two and then
Wearing too many hats tonight. Okay, so all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? So with that, and at 6:36, we're out of public lanes and buildings. So, yeah.
I will call the planning commission to order 6:36. This is for changing the zoning ordinance to area of South Poplar and South Walnut between Charles and Oakwood that is adjacent to Sandusky. So, I'll ask our zoning engineer to approach and give us some information.
Yeah, so as Mark just pointed out there, what we're talking about, and I believe Todd provided you guys with the package I'm looking at here. You can see how the current zoning stands. And what the expansion will do is expand it west from the alley, west of Sandusky to Poplar, and east from the alley, east of Sandusky to Walnut. As far as the rest of the packet, you have there the permitted uses and the conditional uses that are permitted in the neighborhood business district. So you have a good idea of what kind of things would be permitted should the change take place. You also have the development standards there, which some of those I would like to point out here in a couple seconds. And then finally, I just put together some considerations. The main one being that residences, and as Mr. Myers pointed out earlier, any use that's in there now will be grandfathered in moving forward past the change. So no one's going to get shut out of their house and they can't use it as a residence anymore. Should they fall into discontinuance after a vacancy of a period of 2 or more years, they can simply apply for a conditional use with the Board of Zoning Appeals. A hearing of that nature takes about a month, and the decision would likely be rendered in most cases. Things for you guys to consider would just be the impact of the characteristics of the neighborhoods on the opposite sides of Poplar and Walnut. Increase in traffic, increase in noise, that type of thing. Personally, I don't feel strongly about it one way or the other, but I would like to point out that the advantage of doing it this way is if a business would like to expand from its current position on Sandusky Avenue in either direction, this would make it so they do not have to go through the process of changing the zoning, which will save them 3, 4, 5, however many months that process takes when the timelines match up. I would say the advantage of keeping it as it is if they would like to change that zoning and they, buy the 3 parcels or whatever, and we extend it over to the east, and then on opposite sides, there would still be residential districts in that case. If you look at your development standards, you can see on items E F and K, there are additional safeguards for adjacent residential properties when they abut to the neighborhood district, which would include a larger side yard setback, a larger rear yard setback, and if those side yards or rear yards are adjacent to any residential property, then they would have to be landscaped and screened accordingly. So, although any new development, new use would have to submit to the planning commission in either instance, I feel that we have a little bit more control if we keep it the way it is. But again, that's weighed against the businesses, you know, not having to go through the whole process of changing the zoning.
Just a quick question, Jennifer Ryan, 515 Wall Street. You said the current zoning is Sandusky Avenue to the alleys parallel?
Correct.
And it will extend east and west to Walnut Street and Poplar. When it goes to Walnut Street and Poplar, is it only the east side of Poplar Street, or is it also the west side of Poplar?
East side of Poplar Street, west side of Walnut.
And it will be this, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Is there a business already looking at going into these areas right now?
The reason this is being brought up is what happened across the street here.
And Tim Hortons.
We had to go through where it took time out of their budget to put that in because they had to buy land over there because they were gonna make it bigger and there was gonna be a second business in there.
Okay.
And this, by doing this can, in my opinion, make it better for the potential landowners there. If they want to sell to a business, they can offer that to them without going through the red tape. Like he also said, the setbacks on the side yard, rear yards, and landscaping is like they did over here for Tim Hortons. They did put that fence up for privacy. They do have the lights that are not way high, that they're directional. I'm just saying this can make it better. On the increase of traffic, I really don't think it's gonna really increase the difference on Walnut and Poplar, because I live on Poplar and I know how busy that road is no matter what. So it's not really gonna change more traffic in my opinion, but.
My concern was with the residents.
That's correct.
As far as, that's why I'm asking, is there something else already looking at this, why it's being moved up right now?
We had a customer who was interested in buying the Bratworks building.
Correct.
Which was on this side of the alley, on Sandusky side alley. But if they needed to expand, they would have to go through a whole series of trying to get a parking lot on the other side of the alley, because that's residential.
Correct.
So that's part of the reason, and that could help the other companies that may want to sell.
How far south are you going, all the way?
Only from Oakwood to Charles.
Okay. I used to live on Walnut Street years ago, so it would be in.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
I think what brought it to light, at least in my mind, was we did the Tim Hortons thing, and then True Value, and it was bam, bam, bam. Every time we turned around, we were having one of these, and it takes a few months to do that. And I'm thinking, if we just keep continuing to do this, then we have to have the special meetings and.
I understand that.
And it, plus, it makes it maybe more
business friendly?
Business friendly. So, that was the only reason. I don't think there's really any businesses that I know.
Okay.
And then that's where I'm at with it. If you want to put a business here and you're trying to narrow it down between here and some other town, and we've got 10 more steps for them to jump through there, and any other town doesn't, we're gonna lose out.
Right.
We want to be more business friendly, we want to attract people here. And so I went and spoke with Landon today, and I asked the pointed question, with that in mind, what are the negatives? And you kind of already alluded to that. The really only negative is that we lose a little bit of control for specific use, but everything is all spelled out.
We lose a little bit of control, and we lose a little bit of those protections that are meant for neighboring residential areas because it will all be considered the neighborhood business district at that point. Those are the major things that would be the negative. But like I said, any new development or any new proposed use that would go in is required to submit a development plan to the planning commission, which will have to address parking, signage, any of those things that might affect the area.
They still have hoops to jump through, but not as complicated. And costly to us also. Every time we do a public hearing, it costs us money.
Well, I understand that. I had to go through zoning for 16 inches.
So, all right, anybody else have any questions? All right, anybody would like to entertain a motion to bring this to a public hearing?
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. We will bring that to a public hearing. We will.
Well, you need to schedule a date now for 30 days. Keep in mind that we need to have time to draft legislation. And about 169 letters have to go out to everybody in that affected area. So that will take a few days, but 30 days within sometime in this ballpark.
Well, that would put us, why don't we do it, give it a little more time, like put it on to the 25th of March, like a Monday? Would Monday be any problem for anybody? 25th is a Monday, that gives a little more time to get this out. All right. 6 or 7?
5:30 or 6:30. We'll make sure that the people that live in the area that work have time to get here.
Why don't we like make it at least no earlier than 6?
6:30 it is.
6:30 sounds fine. So we'll set it for the 25th of March at 6:30 for the public hearing.
You also need a motion to request a draft legislation.
I need a motion.
So moved.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion passed. All right. And we'll end that at 6:48. There's no other questions.
All right, 6:48, we'll call the Health and Safety Committee order. The first item on our agenda is the traffic control map amendment. This was given to us Tuesday night in the large packet. Tonight, we just have the letter, which I'll read, dated January 21 to City of Bucyrus. Attention Health and Safety Committee, dear Health and Safety Committee. The City of Bucyrus Traffic Commission would like to recommend an amendment to the traffic control map that repeals a portion of ordinance number 19-2017. Number 1, to remove the additional 4 parking spaces on the west side of the courthouse, North Wall Street. The history of these traffic commission recommendations are attached. So she went through and put through the history through the traffic commission when it was requested, when it went through the trial, and so on and so forth. So is there any additional information you can give at this point? I think we've already discussed it. So I'll entertain a motion to amend the traffic control map as noted here in the letter.
So moved.
Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say the same. Motion passes. All right, our next item is rental property regulations. Mr. Ratliff, is that you or is that going to be Mr. Hershey?
It's going to be both, thank you.
Okay.
I'll start off real quickly. We had a near tragic situation here about a couple of weeks ago with carbon monoxide poisoning, and at that time it came to light that we have no requirement for carbon monoxide detection within our either our property maintenance code or any of our rental properties. Coincidentally, in looking at some other cities and what they had done, we had identified some carbon monoxide legislation. In also researching that, Mr. Hershey has provided to you guys a draft of some brand new Ohio regulations that are in effect as of January 1st, 2019. They also have some retroactive, or I guess you'd call it retrofitting provisions requiring carbon monoxide detectors in most residences. So we may be somewhat premature on adopting this kind of legislation. We want to make sure it complies with what the state code is, but it is something that's important. Mr. Hershey's going to give you some input on this in the fire code.
Yeah, I apologize for not having more handouts. If I mind if I just walk in and my handies, since you're the head there, I'll give you that. I had that copy for you, and then for everybody else.
I can.
You got one of the charts.
We can, if you'd like, I can scan these and email them to everybody.
That'd be great.
I'll take care of it.
I'll just hand one little chart to everybody here. Had enough for everything. And it's kind of what I handed out was just a flow chart. If this, then that. It's kind of hard to read, so you may need a magnifying glass to see it. I know I need my glasses. So.
Good.
Basically, what I got from the law director this evening was an ordinance from another city.
Yeah, Troy, Ohio.
Okay, in Troy, Ohio. And just briefly, in the 45 minutes I had to peruse over it real quick, it follows a lot with what the carbon monoxide detection in new and existing buildings is covered under the Ohio Fire Code. In new buildings. One of the things that I did see though is in the first paragraph of what you're looking for is the for what Troy, Ohio has is UL codes for the detection systems. They're limited to a 2034, whereas if you go into the Ohio Fire Code, there's more UL listings, so that's something that we may want to look at. And then the requirement in new construction as opposed to existing construction, because existing construction I can have a battery operated CO detector, and there's provisions that are built into the fire code that state, you know, if this and that's on the chart there, as opposed to new construction, which requires what I believe to be the UL code 2034, and that's the hardwired ULs for new construction. Also in the Ohio Fire Code, you'll see that it's new construction for anything after the date of, I do believe it's, and I had it marked, 2015. There's a date in 2015. I apologize for not having that better mark. Yeah, December 15th, 2017. So, if a building does not have commercial power, or if the building was an existing building before December 15, 2017, a battery powered CO alarm is acceptable. These are things that we may want to look at to make sure that we're following the code that's in place.
I think if you haven't already discussed this, I think what I'd like to see is maybe you two working together to create what you feel would be the most appropriate language for our community.
Yeah, and we need to incorporate some of these new, make sure we've incorporated all of the new standards from the fire code, and make sure our penalty provisions kind of follow along the fire code. That's what I was looking at earlier, trying to find out what those fire code penalty provisions are.
And then what would and I'm just throwing this out there, I don't know if there is an answer yet, but would we throw an extra step into the building permit process, where if somebody was either doing a renovation or a new build, that you would take on that burden of the inspection at that point, or?
Well, the new and existing buildings, according to the fire code, the groups that it involves are I-1, I-2, I-4, R occupancies, and Group E. Now, that doesn't really mean a lot to you unless you know inspections. So, Group I, and I'll keep it short, Group I is institutional groups. That's like drug assistance, halfway homes, residential boarding, child care facilities, hospitals, nursing, mental hospitals, so forth. And Group I-4 is daycare facilities. So that's I. All right. Group R is residential groups, but residential groups are boarding homes, hotels, motels, apartment housing, boarding housing, convents, so forth. There's a whole list of them. And then education groups is defined as by 6 or more persons at any one time for educational purposes through the 12th grade. So if they have a forced air furnace with the gas heating, there's provisions set forth for each one of these that they have to have a CO detection installed.
Is there any talk of also adding smoke detection to this, or would that be something that we look at separately?
Yes, we have smoke detection provisions in our international property maintenance code, and that kind of dovetails with another question. We've talked in the past about maybe trying to work ourselves away from that international property maintenance code. We have some drafts pending of legislation that simplifies that, tries to customize it for Bucyrus and our needs. And those, and this and those could be provisions within that overall thing. This can be standalone carbon monoxide and smoke detectors. With respect to rental properties, I think it's probably a pretty good idea to consider both, because a lot of times we're dealing with a population that's, you know, you take it, when you rent a property, you're taking it as is a lot of times. So, you know, putting some onus to have those in there is I think important.
Does that sound like something that's probably the best way to tackle this, is to have you work with him to come up with some language for us to look at?
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
Okay. I think that's what I'd like to do. I don't think we need any official action at this
No.
point. I think we just request you to do that and then bring it back to us when you have something that you think will work for us. I think
Definitely.
would be great.
All right, sounds
Much
good.
appreciated on.
Yep, no problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Next item up is repeal, replace, and mobility. Not sure who in front of that.
Oh, I could start us off with
Okay.
it. And then if Rob or Jeff have anything yet. Chief Kepke approached us recently about adding part-time to part-time dispatchers to get some flexibility. It's what happens is when we have vacations or sick, calling sick, anytime the police officer has to sit on the dispatch and takes an officer off the street. He was concerned about things that, you know, we all agree that, you know, an officer belongs on the street. And so, in response to his request, we'd like to, you know, open up a discussion. See what you guys think of that.
Especially if the chief's asking for it and things, like that's something that would benefit his department or something.
Well, we definitely have a retiree, probably gonna lose another one, probably here in the next 2-3 months.
This one first.
Yeah.
So now's a good time to look at it and get some of your thoughts on it.
He's gonna look at the utility officer too.
Yes, I was retiring in April.
So we need to request for you to prepare changes.
Yeah, did you include proposed changes?
No, we haven't,
We just want to kind of know that we're okay if we're moving forward with working on it.
if you're okay with that, we'll work on some of that, so is that to you?
We'll pull the
Motion to allow them to prepare legislation for change to the public. Do you need a motion for that?
You probably can kill two birds with one stone here and do the re-empowering and the bill because it's the same function, adopting those positions. So we'll prepare two pieces of legislation for you, the proposed new village and the proposed new employee manpower, based on the administration's recommendation.
He made the motion. I'll second the motion.
All in favor? So you'll bring that back to us then? Very well. With that said, unless there's any other issues to come before health and safety, I will close out at 7 p.m.
I will call finance to order at 7 p.m. First is material bids. This came from service, so pretty much they just need our blessing as well.
So second.
First by Kevin, second by Andy. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. 2019 mill and pave, same thing, came from service. Just need finance's blessing as well.
So moved.
Second. Nope.
Oh.
Wait. Comments?
Jeff?
I just want to make sure that we change that amount.
With number 8 being put as a.
Yeah, so it would actually be not to exceed 600,000. 634, you want to deduct that 34,520, so you just, that's what's in our budget, the 600.
So that's keeping that number, line 8 is,
Option.
Not to exceed 600,000.
yep.
Second.
Okay, not to exceed 600,000. First by Kevin, second by Andy. All in favor?
Aye.
Moving on, the repair and replacement of billet, and same thing goes with the employee manpower. Came from the Health and Safety Committee. So, we just need to,
Madam Chair?
yes,
Technically, the finance committee doesn't need to do anything yet because you're not spending any money.
okay.
Or you're not adjusting the budget in any way yet. So, my guess is these will come back as, you didn't make a motion, prior committee didn't make a motion to request them as emergency, and they normally wouldn't be because they'd be come back for first reading next time. So only until we needed to appropriate money for those part-time dispatch positions would we then need something from finance.
Okay.
You know, should, but you definitely don't need to.
The reduction, that was, needed an appropriation reduction in 282 Victims of Crime Act, the Victims Advocate Personal Services in the amount of $80.78 to correct an error in the 2019 budget. The budget was passed before the last payroll, so we just need to make this appropriation reduction.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. I will recess at 7:04 p.m. Do we have any public participation? None? Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Okay, Mark, second by Doug. And we'll adjourn at 7:04 p.m.